Hey everybody, welcome back to the Resistance broadcast. I'm John. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're down one here in the TRB base. Sadly, I have to report that James Baney is in Disney World. That son of a gun. Can you believe it?
I didn't know where you were going with that. I was like, let's not make this depressing.
No, Lacey's here though. What's up?
I am. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters?
Yep.
That's all that matters.
Correct.
Okay, just clarifying. See you around, kids. Lacey, it's all you tonight. No, yeah. So we still have a good show today, though. Yeah, James is down repping us in Batu, with some porgs apparently, right, Lacey?
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
All right. So yeah, before we get into the news, I saw that Daisy Ridley was interviewed, and for the rest of her life, Star Wars will come up.
Yep. And
she said that she recently had lunch with Kathleen Kennedy. So that's very nice.
That's lovely. Do you think they talked about her coming back?
I know that was the thing. Like, some of the guys in the news chat were like, you think we should report on this? I'm like, there's really nothing to report. They probably just caught up and got some lunch. And I'm sure there was maybe a little talks of like, oh, so what are your guys' plans for the, future and stuff? And I'm sure they touched on something, but I don't think it was one of those like, let's meet so we can negotiate.
Oh no, I feel like it was a feeler lunch though. I feel like it was one of those like, hey, how's it going? Would you ever want to come back? Maybe. Like, you can't have a conversation.
You think it was planned?
I think on Kathleen's part, not on Daisy's part. I think Kathleen probably met with her and then talked with her about Star Wars. You know, that conversation came up where it was like, so, like, looking back on your experience, how was it? Because she did talk with John.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, right, last year, yeah.
Yeah.
Who initiates that lunch plan? Do you think it's Kathleen Kennedy?
Absolutely. Daisy Ridley's not initiating that.
Like, Daisy, I have to head to England to check on how Andor's doing. Do you want to meet up for some lunch?
That's exactly what happened. I bet.
Yeah. Little post-production Andor. She's like, let's go to what's your favorite cafe? Take me, let's go somewhere. You know anywhere quiet where we won't get recognized?
Right.
And then she sends her sister, her twin sister. And Kathleen Kennedy actually watches. They're twins.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was her younger sister.
Connie and Kathleen.
Oh, I thought you meant Daisy's twin.
No, Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh.
So I think she sent her twin for the lunch, and then Kathleen Kennedy was spying from the roof with binoculars and like a James Bond earpiece. Why
would she send her twin and spy?
I haven't figured that part out yet.
What would be the point of that when she could just hear the information directly from Daisy?
Yeah, you're right.
What?
But anyway, I don't think people are going to make a lot out of this. I don't think there's too much to it. She did say that she texts with Jodie Comer.
Her mom.
Every so often. Her mom, her space mom, who doesn't have a name yet.
After everything that fans went through to say who Rey's mom was. They can finally say.
So they're still texting. She's probably like, hello, mom. And then she said she also obviously keeps in touch with John Boyega, but said he's very busy. But she didn't mention Oscar, which I found interesting. Nor Adam Driver. Well,
Adam's kind of like very busy as well, but I feel like John and her are very close in age, so it's a little different than her and Oscar. Oscar is what? Late 30s, early 40s?
I think he's around 40, 41, yeah.
So it's just like an age thing. Like, they're at different points in their life. He has kids, I believe, and he's married. And,
yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah. Yeah. How about Adam Driver really stretching out his wings and doing a movie where he swings a sword and the first two words of the movie are the last?
And he's a bad guy.
Yeah. Come on, dude. What are you doing? We've already seen this. Come on. Although it does look good.
He looks really evil in that, though.
Yeah, yeah. Although I'm not sure I buy, like, I love Ben Affleck, you know that, but he has like blonde hair in this.
He has a mullet.
And then no, Matt Damon has the mullet.
Oh, Matt Damon has the mullet.
Yeah.
That's right.
So and seeing Matt Damon in this type of period piece is weird to me.
Right.
Like, he doesn't fit. Yeah.
It is weird.
He's better on Mars, I think. Did you see that movie? Mars,
Matt
the Martian?
Damon. No.
Yeah. He like grows potatoes for 2.5 hours. So I just saved you 2.5 hours of your life.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so we got some news to get into. So let's hop into the Resistance Report.
It's the resistance.
All right, Lacey. First story, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Kumail Nanjiani. Did I say that right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. He's talking about his role in the series, and fans to this point, we've had no knowledge of how big his role was going to be or anything like that. So he peppered in, some details. He didn't give away too much, but he had some lengthy quotes, and maybe we could like pick this apart a little bit, have some fun speculating. He said he has a substantial role. And he said he got the role by all of his agents calling him. It was way different than any other thing he's done before. Usually it's one of them.
I didn't know people had multiple agents. I always just assumed they had one agent.
I wonder if he means like that means his publicist, his manager, like all the whole team. And he referred to it as my agents. But he said he would have been said yes anyway. So I guess he was a big Star Wars fan as a kid. So, I mean, I always love hearing that part of it. But then, he's, I can read one of his quotes here, which is probably the most interesting, where he said, I had this moment. I'd heard Ewan was super nice. And that's always good to hear, too. And then we got to know each other a little bit, just hanging out and talking. Then there was this weird moment where I'm talking to Ewan and they yell action and he'd start talking to me. And I was like, oh, I'm talking to Obi-Wan right now. This is not Ewan McGregor. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi I'm talking to. My character is supposed to be a little intimidated by him, and I was a little bit intimidated myself. It's effing Obi-Wan. What are you going to do? So I said effing because we try to keep it PG around here. So I don't know. Like my initial thoughts on this are, it seems like Ewan McGregor is as big of a star even to people who we consider stars. And I think that is something that maybe we haven't really remembered about him, that he just carries this presence, especially when he goes back into this type of role. He's a legacy Star Wars actor now. When he came around the first time, it was, the Holy Trinity, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford. He's a part of that now. Right. He's been Obi-Wan for a very long time. I guess being back on set, and he's probably in such a good mood doing it with all the new director, the new technology and all that stuff. But in terms of his character, Kumail Nanjiani,
who's also in a Marvel movie coming out. He's in Eternals. He's just collecting
that's the movie he got all jacked for, right?
Yeah,
Eternals?
but he's like collecting the Thanos glove of franchises.
The nerd glove. Yeah. They got to bring him back for your Hunger Games when they bring that back, and what X-Men or whatever
Star
else.
Trek, DC, Lord of the Rings.
Right. Not Transformers. Come on.
I don't know why everyone hates on them. I liked the first Transformers with the Shia LaBeouf.
I did like the first one, but they've made like 6.
They have.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's how I feel about the Pirates movies. Like, they were all made well, but the only one I really liked for the story was the first one.
Oh, Pirates is
Curse
so
of the Black
good.
Pearl. Yeah. But I don't know. Like, there's some parts of this I'm like, whatever. Every time they ask an actor about the volume, I'm like, oh. It's the same answer over and over again. But him saying this is a type of character that's familiar to Star Wars, but we haven't seen it quite like this. That's very interesting to me. But
what do you think that means? Takeaway, like an alien?
I don't know. There's the rumors about Inquisitors, and there's rumors about maybe there's other Jedi.
He's got to be a good guy though, because he says that he's like in a space with a desk, and like that's one of the other quotes is he talks about working with the volume and how he's behind a desk and like.
Because when he said desk, you know who I thought of? I thought of Werner Herzog's role in The Mandalorian, where he's sitting behind his little desk.
Yeah, that's true. You're totally right. That's a good point I didn't think of.
He could be playing like a crime guy. He could be playing an Imperial officer of some kind. That's the thing. Like, when I proofed this, I think I may have added a little snippet about, I walked away from this interview with more questions than answers. And
I agree.
That's kind of cool to me. You know what I mean? Like, he gave us information, but he also launched 10 more questions at us. And that's how I kind of like when they interview these actors, because I don't want to know everything, especially plot stuff. I don't like plot spoilers that much. Like creatures and this is popping up, we may go to this planet, fine. But when it comes to like plot stories, I like to be kind of fresh for the most part. So how'd you feel coming out of it? Did you feel like you connected some dots, or did you feel a little more like, wow, now I don't even know what to think?
I feel like I'm in the same boat as you. To me, it sounded like he was a good guy only because he said he was intimidated by Obi-Wan, which I feel like bad guys aren't intimidated very much until like it gets to the point where they're like, oh, I'm gonna die now.
Okay.
But
That's interesting.
I loved him talking about Ewan. Obviously, we all know Ewan is nice. He's just like got that like kind of energy around him that you're like, this guy can't be a bad person. And if you ever found out that like he ended up being like a scumbag, you'd be like so shattered. Like I would be personally offended if I ever had found out Ewan McGregor was.
One of our listeners, Scott Gibson, said he met him
in a coffee shop.
Like, and yeah, because when you meet someone at a convention, they have to be nice.
Yes.
If you meet him in a coffee shop, you can get any version of that person. Like maybe his car just got hit. Maybe he just lost his wallet. Like who knows what's going on in his life. And he said he was a really, really nice guy. So that's like a double confirmation.
Yeah. No, I love it. And he's just, you know, obviously super excited to be a part of the project. I was most interested in when he was describing about the volume, about being behind a desk, and then you're like in Star Wars, and how he said that like he's in a space where you see ships flying and aliens walking around. And all that kind of stuff, because I feel like that's something that the TV shows have done better, I feel, than the sequel trilogy, is incorporating more creatures and aliens in the background.
That's fair.
So that when you're looking around, you can watch an episode multiple times and still pick up little things in the background. And I think that's due to, you know, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni loving those moments. Like, Filoni loves adding those little details. So I'm super pumped to see what comes of this, but man, this guy's having a year. He is having a year.
He is. And, you know, I'll go back and I'm not going to change my tune on the whole, like, actors talking about the volume thing. But one thing that is always interesting about it is when they don't know what's real and what's fake. And these are, like, seasoned actors at this point, and they can't even tell, and they're right near it. That just shows you how amazing that technology is. I mean,
I love that Ewan was like,
those walls were real.
Yeah, Ewan was like, you know, this is not real. Like, I love how he's a seasoned person now, even though this is the first time he's worked with it too. Like, he's like, oh no, like obviously this is not real. Like, I love that he's like being like kind of the dad, where he's like, oh, this is how it goes.
Yeah, right. I feel like, you know, in that episode of The Office when Michael wants to play with the baler, and Daryl's like, no, you can't play with the baler.
But Pudge gets to play with it. You mean Madge?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought your name was Pudge. Madge. That is one of my favorite jokes in The Office.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But I feel like that's like how I could picture like Ewan wanting to go up to the VFX guys, be like, can I hit the button for the room? They're like,
right.
No, you can't touch this. He's like, but I'm Obi-Wan. Come on. He's like, no, you can't touch that. So he's like, Kumail, come over here. That's all fake. Look over there. That's all fake right there.
I just love that that's the case. And, you know, he like gives tours to new people and like he's like totally all about it and he feels so knowledgeable. Yes. I love that.
Yeah, because you remember like all those behind the scenes videos of the amazing Phantom Menace documentary and the Attack of the Clones stuff. Like he was having so much fun rolling around on those mats where there's just green screen everywhere. Now he's in the environment and he's already a big Star Wars fan as it is. It's probably he probably feels like it's a playground, which kind of, you know, Kumail said he went to Galaxy's Edge and he felt like he was like, I feel like I'm at work.
Which
he
is
felt
crazy.
Like he was on set.
Yes.
That is, and that's also a testament to Galaxy's Edge too, you know. So,
which I haven't
you
been
and I
yet.
haven't gone.
Thanks a lot, James.
Which James is literally there right now, probably with a green milk mustache.
He's been there like 16
He's probably like James is probably like, I am so sick of Galaxy's Edge, man. Like it's like when you love pizza so much, but you eat so much, and you're like, I'm never eating pizza again. That's where James is right now for Galaxy's Edge.
I don't think so though. He loves it so much. Like every time we ever talk about it, he's like, it's the best thing ever.
You know what's gonna suck though? We miss you, James, but when we go, he's gonna be like, I'm the expert of the three of us at Galaxy's Edge.
All I ask, and this isn't directed at James, just anybody that ends up walking into Galaxy's Edge with me, which, you know, listeners might be there, Patreon members might be there. Like, let me just take it in first before you point stuff out to me. Like, let me experience it on my own, because there's nothing to me that's more kind of like, ugh, than like you're experiencing something for the first time and someone doesn't give you those first few minutes to kind of take it all in before they're like, did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see this? Which I don't think James will do, but I just...
No.
I hope whoever I'm with gives me those, lets me cry for 10 minutes and then we move on.
I have this weird fear that because I know so much about it and I've heard so many people's experiences about it that when I walk in, I'm not going to feel anything.
No, totally different. Because when I went to Harry Potter World the first time, I had seen pictures and videos and stuff. It's different when you're standing in there. And, we talked to Clayton when it wasn't even open yet, and he said he cried. So I believe him. I believe that it's a very emotional, like, kind of moment to see the Falcon. I'm excited.
I am too. Sorry, I had to turn my Wi-Fi off on my phone. Okay. So I there's not much else to this story. I do like the fact that this is a substantial role, as he puts it. So we know that
he did give a lot of info.
Yeah, so fans of him aren't going to get one of those like, oh, he was only in one episode for 5 minutes, like, oh, so we should expect to see him in multiple episodes, which is very cool. And we know this series is it's 6 episodes. I joked about, watch, they're going to tease a second. I don't think so. I think this is kind of its
and done.
One and done sort of thing.
Yeah.
But is there anything else from this that you wanted to point out? I didn't really get your thoughts on how he got the gig. I know you usually like those stories and stuff like that.
Oh, not really. I mean, his is pretty straightforward. It's interesting that he didn't have to audition for anything. They just offered it to him. But I feel like that's happening more and more.
Jeez.
Especially with these Star Wars shows. I mean, you hear about The Mandalorian where Giancarlo Esposito, the role was written for him. So, like, it's crazy to think someone has that kind of influence on a director or a writer that they're like, oh, this is the person I'm thinking of, so we should ask them. And who's going to say no to Star Wars? I want to know someone that said no recently to Star Wars, because I don't think there is one.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe Leo DiCaprio.
I said recently.
What if they asked him recently?
I don't think they asked him recently. I don't think that happened.
Would you want to see Leo in Star Wars?
I don't think so. I think he's got a certain look or face that, like, I wouldn't be able to see past that it's him.
That's fair.
And that's not, like, saying he's not a good actor. It's just certain people, when you see them, like Ryan Reynolds. Every time I see Ryan Reynolds, I just see Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I feel like Ryan Reynolds plays Ryan Reynolds in a lot of movies.
Oh my God, it's the same thing over and over again at this point, which is good for him. Get paid, dude, but...
It's definitely good for his wallet, for sure. Yeah. All right, so you want to move on to the next story? You have anything else you want to... Okay, so next we have Star Wars Visions director Kenji Kamiyama confirms the 9th Jedi is... He thought of it as a pilot episode, which means he had other things in mind for it going forward. And he also said that he could see it making for a good feature film. I know this was one of your favorites.
Yes.
Your favorite was the twins, as far as I remember.
Yeah, this one and the twins were equal pretty much.
Okay, so you read his comments about that, and obviously this, as of now, and I know there's been people wondering about this, but as of now, it's a non-canon thing. So, like, you think Star Wars would make a non-canon feature film? Do you not think that? So what are your takes on his comments, and what are your takes on the ideas that he's trying to manifest, as we've heard is a new word that is being used quite often now?
Yeah, it kind of depends how you look at what they currently have, because, I mean, if you look at the Lego stuff, they've already made 2 feature-length non-canon stories. So, could they? Yes. Will they? I don't know. I feel like this is a weird position to be in, because he is included in that season 1 in Visions, and they've already said that they would love to do a season 2. So I could see him doing, an additional story that carries on this. But it feels like such a waste. That's such a good story that, I know you liked this too, John, that it was such a good story, and it put it off in such a good place that you're like, I want more of it. To know that he has a full story written, you're like, I'm missing out. I'm not getting the whole story here. And you just want to know more about, Qi'ra and all the different Jedi and what's going to happen, and, like, will they save her dad and stuff like that. So it feels like a waste that it's like on a laptop or in a notebook somewhere and it's never going to be seen again. So I hope that they continue it in season 2, but I don't know if they'd ever do a full length feature. I would watch it, but I don't know if there's, a call for it from Star Wars fans.
Okay. Yeah. I'm kind of in that boat too. This was the one story where I remember at the end of it, I was like, wait, there isn't another. Like, I'm not going to watch where they go now. So that was the one where I didn't feel like it had the finality to it. And I could see there certainly being a continuation. I mean, I think we all agree that Visions probably comes back and they do another round.
Absolutely.
Now, do they bend and make continuations to some and do, it's not all or nothing. They can continue some of them.
I could see them doing Ronin.
New ones. Yeah, right. So they could do that. And, his track record, Kamiyama, he does do a lot of continuing series type of anime stuff. So he's used to sequels, so to speak, in that world. And also, just side note, I just saw in his resume upcoming, he's doing the Lord of the Rings, the War of Rohirrim is an upcoming anime fantasy film based on the novel Lord of the Rings.
Rohan?
So that Rohirrim.
I think it's Rohan, but I'm not sure.
Well, anyway,
I'm really bad at reading Lord of the Rings words. Like, I'm already bad at names as it is. Lord of the Rings is like a whole nother.
But he's doing an anime Lord of the Rings movie.
I love that this is being brought up when James isn't here. A Lord of the Rings anime movie.
Yeah.
James is somewhere no.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to bring that up. Damn. I need new notes, new talking points. Sorry, James. So yeah, I think it's cool. I don't know if this is one of those things. I agree with you. I don't think this is going to be one of those things where you go to the theater and you're going to see this non-canon Star Wars animated movie or something like that.
Maybe on Disney Plus. That's the only chance it kind of has at this point.
Yeah, and people seem to think that they're not going to do movies on Disney Plus. I think for something like this, they could.
Yes.
I think Star Wars wants to keep their big time blockbusters on the big screen. I think you and I both agree with that, at least.
Yeah.
But when it comes to if they did a 90-minute anime movie to continue the story of the Ninth Jedi and put it right on Disney Plus, and it doesn't have to be canon, and that's the whole thing. Some people are saying like they got to make this stuff canon. It's so good. I think I like that it's a break and a reprieve from the chaos and the constrictions of canon and stuff like that. So I hope they keep it where it is so they can live there, and these authors don't have to all of a sudden start getting into these writers have to start getting involved with the story group, and then it just becomes another Star Wars mess. Not that Star Wars is a mess, but to connect all the dots and the continuity and stuff, leave it where it is in terms of non-canon. It still doesn't mean you can't enjoy it just as much, right? So people love the original Thrawn trilogy just as much as they do the new one. So canon schmanon as far as Visions goes, but I'd be down to see a continuation of that story. So if he's trying to manifest that, I'd be in full support of and happy to see that happening.
Me too, 100%.
Yeah. All right. Our next story we have: The War of the Bounty Hunters is over. The comic book series put out its last issue. We had a review on StarWarsNewsNet.com by Darby, I believe, wrote that one. And he gave a fair review. He didn't love it, but it does put a conclusion, at least to a part of this story, which is continuing on in Crimson Reign, which is going to be really focused on Qi'ra, and that's starting in November, I believe. So it's picking up right after this. This issue had some big bits in terms of Leia finally finding out from Lando that Han and Qi'ra were a thing. And
imagine
Qi'ra,
if Han's witnessing Lando telling her this. He's like, don't.
Well, doesn't remember that joke I made about how imagine if when Leia unfroze Han and he goes, "Who are you?" And she goes, "Someone who loves you." And he goes, "Qi'ra."
Yeah.
So it's kind of in that territory now because Qi'ra is now in this era, and Leia finds out, and it's not one of those things where I mean, Han is fully in love with Leia at this point. So
Right.
they just finally said, you know, well, he didn't say it. She said the big words to him. I love you. So he's locked in now.
Know.
He's locked into Leia as much as he is locked into that carbonite.
I mean, everybody has past relationships, and that's just something that comes with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and but the one thing I guess that's interesting here too is that we've seen a different side of Qi'ra where she's very cold and harsh about Han Solo and almost like doesn't care if he dies when she's speaking to the masses to showcase who she is, right?
Right.
As like the leader of Crimson Dawn. But she bends a little here, and it seems like she wants to see that he gets back to his people, so to speak. So what's your take on that? Do you like knowing that there's still some sort of softness there from Qi'ra, or were you really full in on the holy cow, she's now a crime lord thing?
No, I mean, I'm not surprised that she still has feelings for Han, because there's something about like young love or like your first relationship that always kind of sticks with you. And I think that goes for everybody, but it makes her more human. You know, she is human at the end of the day. So to have her have feelings for Han, it kind of creates this like really interesting dramatic tension between the three of them, which everybody loves a love triangle. I don't care what anybody says. Everyone does. This is not surprising to me, though, because we learned that the whole thermal detonator thing that Leia does in Return of the Jedi is in reference to what Han told her about Qi'ra. So I don't know how this works, because it's a little confusing now, because John Kasdan said that's where that came from, but yet she's finding out here and he's still in the kryptonite. So there's a little bit of a crossing of storytelling here that's a little confusing, but I'm sure they can figure it out. But I always knew that she was going to find out, because that's why. And they talk about it kind of in that little, what's the shorts? The Forces of Destiny short where she gets the suit to go save Han. It's kind of like that stuff. So it is a little confusing, but overall I think it is interesting that Han doesn't even know what he's gonna have to deal with once he gets out of the carbonite. But I love that Lando tells her, and then Chewie's, picture in this comic is like you can hear the Curb Your Enthusiasm music playing when he's just like, I don't know what to say to this.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And then also in this issue, you have the Knights of Ren, which is interesting. And one of them who hasn't met the heights of Ren. He's a little guy over on the left there. See what I did there?
Yes, I see it. Got it. All right. Thank you.
And Boba Fett.
Why is he not wearing a shirt? I want to know why he's not wearing a shirt.
I mean, if I had those abs and those pecs, I wouldn't wear a shirt either. Let's be honest.
Don't you think it's really vulnerable, though, to not have a shirt on when you're like going into battle and stuff? It just seems like a little bit of an oversight that you're like, you know what? I'm not wearing a shirt.
Well, some brave souls are gonna cosplay as that at Celebration in May, and we'll see if they pull it off or not. But
a lot of people probably could. Not me.
Yeah, and not me. Maybe I'll start taking steroids like Kumail and just get absolutely shredded.
Okay, he didn't take steroids. Let's not start rumors.
They all take steroids. I'm not picking him out. Hugh Jackman took steroids to be Wolverine. Tom Hardy definitely took steroids to be Bane.
Okay.
Come on. He's a little man. All right. But yeah, Boba Fett, still in the mix here, wants his payment. And they're moving on to the next one, which is really going to be Qi'ra focused.
Right.
So I'm curious, do we get the real truth? Like, do we get inside her head? All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Flicking the jab, trying things out. I like that.
You're welcome.
Do we get inside her psyche and really understand what she thinks? Like, do we have those reflective moments where she's by herself, sort of like they do with the Vader stuff sometimes? Do we get to see if has regrets and anything like that?
She's going to have flashbacks too, I bet.
So that'll be interesting. I think that'll be, and usually the second part, this is supposed to be a trilogy, so to speak. Usually the second part's the more provocative, more interesting twists and turns about the characters. So we'll see what that comic series brings, which is coming out very soon.
Right.
Crimson Reign. And then that's that. So a couple other quick stories, Lacey. One that piggybacks right off of that. I don't think it's officially announced yet, but many are reporting that the third in this run, the third series, is going to be called The Hidden Empire, and that will round out the War of the Bounty Hunters comic trilogy. Now, I don't believe there's been... They're saying, you know, Charles Soule is doing it, but as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think any of the official sites or accounts of Star Wars have talked about this just yet.
No, it's just been rumored. We know that Charles Soule has said that he's doing a trilogy, I think, is the only thing that's been confirmed by him, but they haven't confirmed this yet. But man, has Charles Soule been busy.
Yeah, jeez. He's writing away, doing the books, doing the comics, doing everything. So good for him. Charles, come hang on TRB, man. Let's talk. All right, so the title, Lacey, The Hidden Empire, if that's accurate, let's assume it is.
Okay.
If it's accurate, The Hidden Empire, do you think this is planting the seeds for a sort of Crimson Dawn being the new big bad in, like, bigger media for Star Wars, or what do you think?
I don't know, because we haven't really seen what happened in Crimson Reign yet, so it's hard to say what happens after that. But I don't know what that term
empire is very deliberate, using that term, I feel like, using the word empire.
Yeah, I think it's got to be probably... I'm hoping that the Hidden Empire means, like, kind of like the Syndicate War, like, to see what's going on with all the different syndicates, especially because it's going into Return of the Jedi, because it's still during that time period. But I don't know if it means Crimson Dawn specifically is the Empire, because the previous set is called Reign. So why would you go Reign and then into Empire unless she just takes over all the other syndicates?
Yeah, that's true.
Which could be a possibility.
It could be. I'm trying to read up on what they're speculating about this third run here.
I mean, they don't have much to go off of, except that the next section is about Qi'ra and her syndicate.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And that's, you know, since the second run, Crimson Reign's coming out for fall into December, this one's going to be marked for 2022.
Right.
I wonder if they try to wait and do it around Celebration and maybe do exclusive covers for Celebration, you know, that whole thing that they usually do.
I love that, like, every time something comes out, we're like, probably going to do it around Celebration.
Probably around, and then they're not going to. It's all going to be like, oh, this is in June, this is in February.
No, I think there is going to be at least some type of tease or something going at Celebration. I think, you know, at first I was really disappointed that Celebration got delayed, but there's just so much stuff coming out next year, guys. We talked about this in an episode a couple months ago of, like, or a couple weeks, I guess. What is time? That 2022 is going to be, like, the biggest year yet, and we've said that multiple times, and I couldn't agree more, and I think that this is just playing into that, whether it be from comics to books to different content like TV and film. I think we're just going to get so much information of what's to come.
Yeah. It's curious if this series sort of puts a stamp on time between Empire and Jedi, right, or if they're going to expand more, because it's only, I believe, a year between the two films, so not as much breathing room to work with than between, you know, the prequels and the original trilogy, or the end of Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. It's a you know, really
it's
finite
Last Jedi to Rise of Skywalker. It's a year.
Right. Yeah, because I believe A New Hope to Empire, they said, is like 2 or 3 years. Although in the movie, if you watch the movies, it seems like it wasn't very long, but, you know, whatever they say. So they were able to do more comics in that 3-year gap. Right. Whereas in this one, it's definitely a little more tight to fit stuff in. So we'll see what happens. But I'm just curious to see more about what they do with Qi'ra here, and if that gives us any sort of hope about, let's see how she got here. The whole, you know, Make Solo 2 happen thing. Like, are we going to see Amelia back in that era before?
And what kind of flashbacks are we getting? Because that might hint too to what either a time period during that Make Solo 2 happen period, or are we going to see like childhood stuff? Because I think if we're seeing childhood things, then that leaves it kind of open that they're not touching that time period that could potentially be a continuation of Solo. That's my only concern. It's because I don't want to see that story in a comic. I want to see it on screen.
No, yeah, you gotta get Alden and Jonas back in the mix for sure.
Right.
Yeah, that would break my heart too. But, I don't know. This other thing is a possibility too. Do you think there's any chance? I don't know if they need to age her up or what, of Emilia Clarke being in the Book of Boba Fett.
You know what's funny? I feel like someone from Patreon asked us this question, or a listener asked us this question a couple weeks ago of did we, or people were just talking about, do you think she'll show up? Because they make the hint to syndicates or underground crime stuff in the description of what Book of Boba Fett is.
Yeah, I'm not the first to suggest. I think a lot of people have been buzzing about that because of these comics and the time frame. Yeah.
I don't know. Look, if she shows up, I'm gonna love it. But at the same time, there's going to be a little nagging thing at the back of my head that I'm going to be like, okay, but what does this mean? Because the only hope I would have is that she shows up, people lose it, people get so pumped to see her again that they're like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go back to see how she got to said point. But I mean, anything could happen in Book of Boba Fett at this point. But I don't know if she'll show up. Maybe they might reference her.
Yeah, I mean, it also depends on, is the Book of Boba Fett going to be just one season? Because then you have to limit how far you branch out with characters and that sort of thing.
Right.
So, yeah.
I feel like Book of Boba Fett is only one season. First.
You think so? You think it's just the stopgap between 2 and 3 for Mando?
Yeah, because they have so many other series that they're looking to do, from Ahsoka to, Acolyte. I feel like Book of Boba Fett is playing into the next season of Mando.
All right. And with that said, Carl Weathers, in timely fashion on Twitter, confirmed Mando Season 3 has started filming. Which
surprises me that he admitted that, because I feel like, per usual, Lucasfilm is very secretive, which I get. Marvel's secretive too. Everyone is. But for him to just blatantly be like, tomorrow we're filming, and everyone's like, okay, let's go stake out where they're filming.
Yeah. I mean, usually it's been Jon Favreau doing that. He'll tweet like an image of a creature that they worked on or something.
Or a mask, yeah, droid.
So this time it was Carl Weathers, and maybe they were like, Carl, fans seem to love you online. Why don't you let it rip? And you let them know that it's official. Because he had been in previous interviews, I think in August, he's like, I think we're starting up next month. So it's not like one of those shocking, oh my God.
Yeah, I think it's he said it and asked for forgiveness. Like, he was like, eh.
Oh, you think he did it and he wasn't supposed to?
Not that he wasn't supposed to, that he did it not thinking it was a big deal.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he's Carl Weathers.
I know. No one's going to be mad at him.
He's 72 years old, like legend.
Yeah.
You think he cares?
No.
Nah.
I wouldn't care if I was him.
I wouldn't either. Yeah.
I'm tweeting
but this. Grief Karga back, and he's directing an episode, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if Gene's guy makes another appearance this time.
Oh, Gene's guy.
But here's the thing though. So as we are recording this, or as this airs, we might be entering that union strike.
Right, which is supposed to start today.
Yes, so there's been rumors and stuff that it is going to affect The Mandalorian. We can't say that for certain until they say something.
The rumor is 90 days already, right? They're already putting stuff on hold for 90 days.
Yeah,
pending what's going to happen.
Yeah, and we're not here. I don't know enough about the industry to even give any sort of take on that. So I just hope everyone works everything out and it works for the better for everybody. And
I actually have some information on the strike if you want to understand what's happening. So what's happening is, originally when the contracts between the producers and this group, which are like camera operators, makeup people, etc., were made, it was before Netflix and Disney Plus and all these things were a big deal. It wasn't treated the same way that they treat television because it didn't expand and grow in the way that it is now, where most people are watching things as television. Like, you don't have cable, you have Netflix and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So those protections that they have in place for television aren't being turned over for streaming on demand. So they're looking to renegotiate, and my understanding is that the producers don't want to because they've already gotten a certain kind of contract in place. Which part of that feeds into, wellness and time. And right now, I believe they work 14-hour days and then they get 10 hours off, and they're asking for more. They were like, 10 hours isn't enough to turn around a day. So they're just looking for more time and stuff like that. But that's my understanding, is a lot of the contracts that were made were before streaming is what it is now. So they're looking to renegotiate, and producers are saying no. So that's why they're striking.
And yeah, well, that makes sense. So I appreciate you bringing that here.
Yep.
And then also, people, I think, tend to assume just because it's this industry that everyone makes a lot of money, and that's not the case.
Correct.
A lot of these people don't make a lot of money.
Correct.
So, if it's selfish of us to be like, but oh, we want our Mando though. And it's like, yeah, I feel that too. Trust me.
But they are supported by directors. Spielberg supports it. A bunch of people support it.
Right.
The only people that don't currently are producers. So it's just trying to renegotiate.
I think it's okay to say, oh man, I'm so bummed out if, this show might not happen now, or this show's going to be delayed and stuff, but also be like, I understand, I totally understand these people fighting for at least, decency and that sort of thing. Yep. So, it's okay to feel both those feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people feel like, oh, how dare I wish my show came back? It's like, no, you can, but also understand that this is happening.
Right. And you want everybody to get what the value of their work and their worth and everything like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anyone who has a job would be lying if they said that they didn't believe in that. So,
right.
I just hope they work it out. And, it just comes down to, if Disney, who's been taking it on the chin as it is, wants these shows out so they can keep making their money and keep being a powerhouse in this streaming. There might be this poker game between these streaming services too. Like, which one of them is going to be like, no, we're going to pay our people and get this done, because they're all jockeying for position here. Disney Plus,
right,
Netflix, all of them. If Disney wants to right the ship here, write the checks. Like, come on, figure it out. Get it done and get your shows made. And that's really all I'm going to say on that. But
yeah, it might be starting today, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and hopefully, like you say, it works out and everybody is better off.
But I totally 100% support them striking, because I think people should be paid what they're owed. And I don't think that, working 14-hour days back to back to back to back and not getting time to recuperate and be with your family, no one operates well that way. I don't care who you are.
That's not why we were put on this earth, to do that by any stretch.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. All right, now we have two more quick ones here. Disney and Lucasfilm announced Bring Home the Bounty merchandise campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds a little similar to the Mando code, but
imagine they saw that and they were like, that's a good idea, we're gonna do that next year.
Well, because they go, every week we're gonna reveal. I'm like, every week? No, I mean, it is
who won that last year? John Reese. John Reese, how's it going? How's all your stuff?
He's a killer, that guy, John. He's a killer. So Lacey, you're big on the merch. This looks like just some sort of campaign to get people talking about it. Bring Home the Bounty. It looks like it'd be a nice little hashtag. Put out some new merch every week, focusing on different characters and different eras of Star Wars and stuff in a 12-week span. But the holidays coming up, it's a no-brainer for people to buy this stuff up. So what are your thoughts on this? Any takeaways? Anything stands out to you as far as what they've said so far?
So this was interesting as an announcement, because they just did it. They didn't give us any kind of press releases or anything. They were just like, hey, it's on Good Morning America. We put a sand crawler in Times Square and look at this stuff. They haven't really announced anything that new yet. Like, nothing that you're like, oh man, I didn't even think of this. But this to me doesn't surprise me, because last year and the beginning of this year, Hasbro definitely announced that they made their money of the year within the Mandalorian time period, putting out Mandalorian specific toys, the Razor Crest HasLab. They basically, the most money the company made by brand was with Star Wars. And they were really well off last year because of Star Wars. So it doesn't surprise me that they're doing the weekly thing again. I think it's a good idea. I'm interested to see what kind of stuff they end up announcing. If it's like, you know, Shop Disney on one day and Funko on another day. But it's not surprising. The interesting thing here, though, which I'm sure many people know, is that there are kind of shipping supply chain issues that are going on all over the world, especially outside of Los Angeles. So it's interesting to see how that's going to affect the toy industry and the toy companies like Hasbro. Because I know Toy Insider did a big report on it about how the supply chains are going to mess up Christmas. Like you can order your toys now, but you're going to be wrapping a picture of it because you're not going to get it until May. Yeah, so I'm interested to see what this merchandise campaign will be, if it's going to be all pre-orders or they're actually going to get stuff in stores. Because from my understanding as someone that loves to collect things, that's been kind of looking into this stuff, it's not looking good for things to be in stock by Christmas. So my suggestion to people is definitely order ahead, buy stuff now, and kind of, I'm a big planner. We all know this. I've been Christmas shopping already and putting stuff aside just because I'm like, at least I'll have something.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%.
So you're buying your baby gifts already?
No, not really, because the baby's not going to be, she's only going to be a month old. So she's not gonna, she's not going to be able to open. No, but like stuff for my family and friends. Yeah, I've been setting stuff aside already.
Wow. Very good for you.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what sucks though? These supply chains, they're gonna blame this on Santa Claus, and that's just not fair, in my opinion.
Oh, poor
I don't think that's fair at all. Yeah,
Santa went with the pre-order this year. He pre-ordered everything for you.
Okay, good, good. Dude, yeah, because honestly, the guy works hard, and he doesn't deserve it. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Santa might be in a shipping container himself off the coast of California. We aren't sure at this point.
We aren't. We can't confirm that. All right, Lacey, the last one. Star Wars Kids YouTube channel launches animated shorts titled Galaxy of Creatures. They like using galaxy. They like using the word galaxy a lot. I
find myself using that when I do social stuff that I'm like, our favorite galaxy far, far away, our galaxy of this. Or I think it's one of those like, the Force is strong with blank.
Right. It's either Force or Galaxy. Because you had Forces of Destiny, Galaxy of Adventures, now Galaxy of Creatures, Galaxy's Edge. And we know how often they use the Force. So it's either they're like, all right, how many times have we used the Force recently? All right, throw Galaxy on that one. They're like
the numbers, calculating numbers.
They have a wheel and it's just like, throw a dart, and whether it hits Force or Galaxy, they're like, that's what that thing's going to be called.
It's probably a coin toss. So heads Galaxy, tails Force.
Right. All right, so the Force of Creatures.
Yes.
No, the Galaxy of Creatures. So there were two shorts, one about banthas not needing to go to the dentist, and the other one about porgs being trained like puppies. So,
which failed. He failed to train them.
Yeah, and the one porg took off like a rocket. So I don't know if that was Gary or not, but we can't confirm. But what did you think of these? I'll admit, I'll say these didn't do. I know I'm not the target audience. I get that. I could see my son. He likes to play with the iPad sometimes. Go to YouTube for Kids and pop this on and watch it. He watches things like, especially short things, 10 times in a row. He'll take the dial, bring it back to the beginning, watch it again.
What's his favorite right now?
He likes. It's so weird. He likes these videos of people playing with dinosaur toys.
Oh yeah, you had said he likes dinosaurs.
Yeah, and there's this new phenomenon of grown adults playing with toys,
like Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire.
Exactly like that. And kids, they admit, like, we're doing it wrong. We should be doing that. We should do a video of you and me playing with toys. And we'll probably start getting a lot more views on our YouTube channel. Subscribe anyway, youtube.com/Star Wars News videos.
That's like the blind bag thing was a big thing. I don't know if it still is, but it definitely was a couple years ago. Like people buy blind bags. They don't even show themselves. They just show their hands. Oh. And they open up all the blind bags. Like kids love that.
Yeah. Yep. It's crazy. But these, they didn't do it for me. But they are cute and stuff like that. So any thoughts on these shorts?
I loved them, but I guess I have the immaturity of a child. No.
Do not confuse me not liking them for being mature, because I am certainly not.
I thought they were adorable and cute, and you know, just the art was really well done on them. I loved the animation style. They were like very cutesy and kind of reminded me of like the little books that they put out, the golden little golden books.
Yeah, I like those. Yeah.
But yeah, so the funny thing is the Porg one made me laugh a little bit, but it made me laugh because I didn't know that a group of Porgs is called a murder. That made me laugh at the end. And I know that, John, we talked about this off air, that you're like, oh, well, the thing of crows is called a murder. But it's funnier when it's Porgs to me because they're like so cutesy. And then I finally broke down, guys, and I asked Matt Martin a canon question. And I asked about, because at the end it says that their homeworld is Octo. So I said, well, you know, clearly this robot is on Batuu. He talks about being on Batuu, which is an interesting tie-in there for the Galaxy's Edge thing. And I said, you know, does that mean that Rey and Chewie brought these Porgs there? Because there's a ton of Porgs on Batuu. Yeah. And Matt responded and he said, yep, they're an invasive species. So it reminded me of like those Asian lady beetles and all these other things that are in America that you like can't, like stink bugs that you hate. Like that's what you
gotta call animal control.
That's what Porgs are to Batuu. Yeah. They're just taking over. And I love that Rey and Chewie just threw off a whole ecosystem because Chewie was like, they're so cute, I'm going to take them with me.
Yeah. He's not going to eat them anymore.
On the Bantha one, I loved that Bantha hygiene is now canon.
Yes, they're really pressing that. They're very into that right now.
The bath, the toothbrush, which one of my favorite shots in Mandalorian season 2 is them brushing the teeth of the Bantha.
That was cool. That was very cool. That was very old school Star Wars to me, but or Jim Henson style. But the Porgs, I noticed like they're not sentient, but because it's a cartoon, they try to make them have like little personalities, and there were some sassy faces on some of those Porgs.
Yes.
Did you notice
one of them
that?
got annoyed.
Getting like, they were furrowing their brows at the droid and stuff. Thought that was funny. So yeah, I mean, these aren't for me, so I get that, but I also understand the value in them, and I think my son is gonna love them, and even if grown adults like them, that's cool too. I think it's, you know, for everyone to enjoy.
It's definitely for kids. Yeah,
have some fun. Yeah, YouTube Star Wars Kids. Yeah, there you go. All right, so that's it for all the news. We have a pod race with a debut. So Lacey, why don't you take us to the Patreon pod race?
All right, guys, it's time for the Patreon pod race. So there are lots of ways you can support us. You can like this video, comment, subscribe on YouTube, ring that bell for notifications, follow us on Twitter at RBATSWNN or on Instagram at The Resistance Broadcast. But if you want more from us, including weekly content, mailings, live streams, and much more, you can head over to patreon.com/Resistance Broadcast. Starting at just $2 a month, that's it, $2. You get to enjoy all the content, interact with us and the rest of the TRB community, as well as support what we're doing here and what we have for the rest of this year and into next year as well, which we've already said is going to be the biggest year ever. So this is part of the show where we let our generals and spice runners jump in and let us know what they think about something within Star Wars. Before we do that, I'm going to thank our generals and spice runners. So first, thank you to our generals Carmelo, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, John Reese, Jetta Rosewater, Paul Olson, Jake Houchins, Oliver Lewis, Frank Grande, Haas, Joe Ritchie, Darth Hurricane, John Charlton, Nick Kratz, Christian Morales, Brian Smith, Matt Chitty, Joey Mayfield Stewart, who's new, welcome, Nathan Shank, who's also back, welcome, and Val Trichkov. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna take a breath here.
Thank you.
And then we have our Spice Runners. Thank you, David Provis, Neil Shaw, Double C Chris, Kendall Gelnar, Ryan Wara, Dave Hornack, Micah Harrison, and Thomas Hennessy. Thank you guys so much for your support. It means a lot to us.
Thank you all.
So this week we have a debut of General Jetta Rosewater. Jetta! Who's been a part of our community for a while now. We love her. We asked her, what is your favorite memory or experience seeing a Star Wars movie on the big screen and why? So Jetta, take it away.
When seeing Star Wars, released in 1977. My parents took me to the local drive-in theater that night. As soon as the letter Star Wars came on screen, my mind was in mode placer to listen to the story. The music, the plot, the characters, and the special effects. It just drew me in. And as a child, it's like, give me give me all you can give me in the story. Loved it. That's all for today, guys. Thanks.
Nice job, Jetta. You were awesome, as I knew you would be. We all knew that. John, what'd you think of her answer?
Jealous. I think that is so cool that she had an opportunity as a little kid and her parents had the wherewithal to know that, and maybe they didn't know, but it wound up being that way, that this is going to be some kind of big thing. Because when Star Wars came out, I think it didn't at first, but it grew with buzz and stuff like that. She went to a drive-in theater to see the very first Star Wars.
I've never been to a drive-in. Have you been to a drive-in? I want to go to one. There's one locally in New England that I want to go to, but I just haven't had the chance.
All right, I don't want to steal Jetta's thunder here, but did you know? Well, we'll talk about this after the pod race, actually. Remind me.
Okay.
So Jetta, you remember seeing Star Wars at a drive-in as a kid, and when the yellow words come up, you said it sucked you into a galaxy far, far away, and I think that's amazing. And the fact that you lost yourself in the story and you were saying, give me more of this, not even knowing that there was going to be more. Just like, you are a testament to why it did carry on. And I thought you did a great job giving your answer. Fantastic debut in the pod race. Thanks for all of your support as always, Jetta. You're one of those fans that I always like seeing pop up in the chat, because you always have something cool or nice or friendly or fun to say. And you tag me in those otter posts, which always put a smile on my face on Twitter. So thank you, Jetta. You did a great job, and I look forward to your next one. And I'll see you in the chats and on our Admiral General calls soon too.
Yeah, Jetta's the best. She's also a Kylo fan, so she posts me in all these like really awesome Kylo art pieces. So I am thankful for that. Nice. Jetta, I'm really jealous of your answer because I've never been to a drive-in, and I wish I have been. So that's on my bucket list, I guess. But to see Star Wars at a drive-in is like a whole nother level, and the fact that you remember that is so wonderful, because my memory of Star Wars is definitely watching it at home, and I can only imagine how like truly magical it is to be seeing it on a big screen when you're so little. But yeah, you're awesome. Thank you for your answer and your support. And now John and I are just gonna head into the end of the show, I guess.
I'm gonna chill. So yeah, so I didn't want to bring this up because it's a bit of a tangent from Jetta's pod race, but it's similar because there's this image that, I don't know if we ever talked about this, but there's an image going around online where people were watching Jaws while floating in the water at night. Oh,
I've seen that. And nope. Mm-mm.
You wouldn't do that?
No, absolutely not.
See, here's the thing. Because they obviously didn't do it in the ocean.
Are you kidding? I'm crazy. I would like... I'm the person that watches a scary movie that makes no sense that it would ever happen to you, and I'll lie awake all night hearing things and thinking someone's in my house.
All right, so you wouldn't do that?
No.
So we're not doing that. Okay. Thought that would be fun. Like,
did you want to do that? Is that where you were going with that?
Well, I don't know. The last, I think they did that in Texas. I don't know if they do that around here, but I think that'd be interesting. Especially, get a couple beer, couple of beers like Quint has, the Narragansett or whatever, and have some fun. But
I'll be in a lawn chair on the shore.
All right. Well, that's fun.
Have I ever told you I've never seen Jaws? I've only seen
that is insanity. That is insanity.
I've only seen obviously the zoom shot, which is like the famous shot that everybody loves, like the dolly zoom.
The dolly zoom?
Yeah. Which they showed me in college because they're like filmmaking. It's a beautiful shot. But the only other shot I've seen of Jaws is my grandma loved movies. That's kind of how I've gotten into movies and how I always really enjoyed them. And she also was like the biggest Harrison Ford fan. So that I feel like that rubbed off on me as well. But she was watching us one day and threw on Jaws thinking that like we wouldn't watch it because we were like pretty little. But all I remember from Jaws is the scene where they go underwater and there's a head.
Yeah.
So
there is a head.
That ruined my water experience for a while. Like I refused to go in the ocean. And my parents didn't know. Well, now they know.
That was one of the earlier jump scares in cinema.
Yes. Yes. So that jump
really
scare
blare
happened.
The music and
Yes, and I hated the ocean.
You got to see Jaws though. You have to see Jaws. It is unbelievable. It's so good.
The funny thing is like there are certain movies that I've just never seen that I don't know if I'm ever gonna see. I can go through a whole list. Are you not a
Spielberg fan?
No, I like Spielberg movies. I've seen like E.T. and...
Oh, okay. No, because you were late on Indiana Jones too, so I'm just curious.
That surprises me even now, like, to admit that I was late on that, because that's definitely a movie that, like, I should have enjoyed early on. I just never got into it. But yeah, I've never seen all of Goodfellas. I've never seen The Godfather. I've never seen Jaws. I just saw Shawshank Redemption last year, which I felt was built up a lot for me. And it didn't deliver.
Yeah, a lot of people put it in like their top fives. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying there. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how they do these sorts of things with drive-ins and these new like environment type things. Like I was supposed to go see Star Wars with the orchestra, and that got canceled because of COVID. So I would still like to see that.
Celebration always does screenings.
Yeah, but not with a live orchestra.
I know, but I'm saying like Celebration usually does nightly screenings, so I really want to. Oh, yeah. I haven't ever gone to one just because I've had other stuff going on, but I would love to go to one.
We should get as many people as we can to go watch Solo if they do Solo.
I know, that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun.
That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. All right, so I feel like I had something else I wanted to say, but I forget.
That I'm the best, and that's why this show's so good. I know.
That's definitely not it. That wasn't it.
Are you sure?
I thought it was a food-based thing, but I don't remember. Whatever.
Or with the taco challenge, we have to now do that. Everybody wants us to do it.
I mean, that wasn't what I was thinking of, but it sounds like there's definitely some buzz growing and people want to get involved, and we'll have to figure out.
Maybe we should live stream it, and everybody at home should also get their own tacos, and then we'll take.
We may have to. What if we? I don't know. It's gonna be. We'll have to figure it out. We'll have to do something for sure.
And before everybody judges me, because I got a lot of judgy, like, oh my God, you eat Taco Bell? Yes, yes, I do.
Yeah,
I eat crappy stuff all the time.
Yeah, Taco Bell rules.
It's all about like managing it. So like, I'll eat salad the rest of the week, and then I'll have one day where I go crazy at Taco Bell. Like,
yeah,
I'm still a good person.
I like nice restaurants with filet mignon.
Oh, steak is my favorite food, but
lobster tail. But you know what? I also like to smash some Taco Bell. Okay, and you have to deal with that. Okay,
people got really judgy out how to deal with that. They're like, "What?" I was like, "All right."
I thought you meant they were going to judge you because you said you could only do 4. I thought that was.
No, you know what's funny? Some people were kind of like, "Only 4? You're lying." And I was like, well, I'm converting from Crunchwrap Supreme to tacos, and then you know what? Right. If there's a challenge, I get super competitive. I'll probably eat many more just for the sake of being competitive. But when you think about it as like, what would I normally eat? 4 to me seems normal. Like even James, when we were talking, looking back at that episode, was like 4. Like,
well, what's funny about James is I think he knows the specifics and details of every value meal out there.
He's a connoisseur of fast food.
He is. He's like, the regular meal is 3 tacos. So you're only doing 1 more.
And he always knows the newest item on menus. He's like, have you heard of this new item?
Yeah, he does.
You should do a blog or something.
All right. James will be back next Monday when he's back from Batu doing some reconnaissance missions for the Resistance. So He's so brave for us. Thanks, James. We miss you, buddy. That That's all we got here. So real quick though, you can give James a shout out on Twitter at Myra Trunks and on Instagram as well. But as I said, he will be back next Monday. So let him know how much you missed him on this episode. And upcoming on Thursday, he won't be there either. He's still going to be on vacation. But thank you for everybody for listening, watching, being a part of TRB. Make sure you're going to StarWarsNewsNet.com every day for all of your Star Wars news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. Subscribe to the show on your preferred audio platforms too. I know you're probably watching on YouTube at youtube.com/StarWarsNewsNetVideos. But we're on every podcast platform. So just follow us there, subscribe there, whatever they do. And if they have a rating system, if you like us, give us a 5-star review or whatever the top one is. We appreciate that very much. You can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey, writing and editing at StarWarsNewsNet.com. And tomorrow on my movie podcast, Just Like the Movies, we're putting out an episode on Aladdin. So I will promise not to curse on that episode. Lacey, how about you?
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lacey Gilleran. I also have an unboxing video up currently on the YouTube page about this new R2-D2 kind of build your own thing from fanhome.com. Definitely check it out and let me know if you want to see me build it, because I have all the pieces. So I want to know.
Are you a good builder?
No. So it'll be very interesting.
Neither am I. Yeah.
But they make it really easy, so it shouldn't be too bad. Also, coming up soon, I should have a Lacey's Outpost. I have a bunch of stuff that you guys have sent me. I apologize, it's taken a little while. A lot of stuff's going on in my life right now, but I will have something soon. So stay tuned for that.
Yes. And that is it. Did I also say that they can find me on Star Wars Newsnet? I didn't say that, did I?
You did, because you pointed at your shirt.
I told them to go there. I don't know if they can find me there. You can find me there too. All right.
I need a Star Wars Newsnet shirt.
This is my first one from years ago. It's like fading a bit, but there we have it. It's a relic.
And then check out, we do have a new shirt on our store.
Yes.
No moon.
Yes.
No moon. Not new moon. No moon.
Store.resistancebroadcast.com.
Correct.
It is officially called It's a Space Station. And it says no moon on the front, and in all the O's is one of the, all the super weapons are represented there. So it's a pretty cool shirt. Check that out. Pick it up. We appreciate that. And of course, all of our other shirts, including Make Solo 2 Happen, TRB logos, all that good stuff. Mando Fan Show, all of it. But yeah, we'll be back on Thursday. So we hope you enjoy your weeks. Hope your Octobers are going well. Hope your Halloween plans are getting going here. But we'll see you on Thursday, where we're going to get in discussion mode right here on the Resistance broadcast. We'll see you around, kids.